Stick or twist? The gambler's dilemma. January is here and our transfer window closes 3 days before the rest of Europe. Do we anticipate losing our best players and proactively replace them, or do we take comfort in our mammoth lead and be prepared to see the season out with youngsters? In the last video I identified our needs, a centre-back to cover Luis's long-term absence and push Cabaselli down the pecking order, and a striker to be the legitimate in-behind threat that the squad is lacking. In the last video I identified some targets, but sadly none of them have appeared on our scouts' radar, and so we can't consider them. Then there's that league position. We want to reinforce for the second half of the season, but promotion is surely all but guaranteed. Are we better served waiting until the summer, when a higher calibre of player will be interested in joining? As none of our scouted players fulfil the criteria we are looking for, I will turn to the director of football. Full transfers, loans, end of contract deals, anything. Maybe someone will catch our eye. Chumi fits the bill, but is currently on the radar of teams far greater than us. Paneliagas has the potential to be my Remegard, even if I'm not convinced he's good enough in the long term. Facundo Gonzalez is a truly unknown commodity. His performance is good, has experience in Spain, and his contract is due to expire. Emmanuel Boateng's stats are from an inactive league, but he's certainly intriguing. Kelvin Yeboah's been on the fringes for the last 3 years, but seems to score when given the chance. Sekou Mara is surely beyond our wage budget, but he's been suggested, so I might as well explore it further. So that's the plan. We'll scout them, along with a few others, and see if we can find 1 or 2 who can help tie us over for the rest of the season. If we can improve our striking options, Sinan Bakis can be sold. Of course, best laid plans and all that. By the time we played our next league fixture, a lot had changed. Our winter break was sandwiched by the Copa del Rey. Segunda Federation outfit Caruxo hosted the first round, where a partly rotated squad eased to a 3-0 win courtesy of goals from youngster Dennis Rufo, Luis Munoz and Jose Antonio Gonzalez. This set up a second round tie against rivals Osasuna, and perhaps our best performance to date. Gerard Martin opened the scoring, before Marin's 25-yard free kick doubled our lead. Luis Munoz made it 3-0 with only 7 minutes remaining. An injury time Aymar consolation was too little, too late. A home tie against La Liga's Celta Vigo beckoned, and 20 minutes into the second half, Marc Aguado gave us the lead, which lasted all of 4 minutes. Substitute Facundo Pellistri got in behind to level the scores, and so it stayed. Extra time. 3 minutes in and Celta Vigo had the lead, Pellistri on hand to tap in the rebound, and that was our race run. Third choice keeper Iker Alvarez had acquitted himself quite well, stepping in with Poussin ill and Rebolo out with a groin strain. We were also without Gerard Martin, a player who was allegedly not injury prone and had only ever had 3 minor injuries in his career. He picked up a knock against Osasuna, his 5th injury since joining, and the 3rd of such to his hamstring. Bakis suffered a lower back stress fracture that will see him on the sidelines for 2 months and scuppered our plans to sell, whilst Bermejo pulled his knee ligaments, returned to training, then got struck down by the flu 4 hours later. Hugo Barachina, now on the cusp of starting, pulled an abdominal muscle. Injuries were the least of our concerns. We put in a bid for Chumi, but Almeria wanted above his market value. We agreed a contract with Facundo Gonzalez, but plans to try and buy now were ruined by virtue of him being out on loan already. Sekou Mara was indeed beyond our wage budget, and Kelvin Yeboah wasn't interested in signing. Seattle Sounders put out the feelers for Alejandro Francis. West Brom lowballed for Poussin. Both were rejected without incident. Then Burnley came in for our 23-year-old centre-back, so we agreed to sell if the price is right. Thankfully, nothing was forthcoming. Valencia came in for Aguado, meeting his 15.75 million release clause, and so the decision was out of our hands. 3 days later, he scored his first goal of the season against Celta Vigo. Perhaps a fitting goodbye. We had found some replacements. Brest's Moroccan centre-back Akraf Dari arrived on loan. His contract expires in the summer, and he's not interested in joining permanently, but a loan gives us some short-term cover, and, if he impresses, maybe we can convince him to stay. It's a similar story with Kelvin Yeboah. he wasn't interested in signing but was willing to come in on loan. A chance for him to get regular football, a chance for us to win him over. They'll be joined by Lorient's Bami Maite, another loan arrival. Transfer listed by the French club, he was another who seemed to perform well in the metrics I value, albeit with limited game time and not necessarily in terms of average rating. He helps our ever-thinning defensive unit and has the ability to step into midfield if needed. With Aguado's departure imminent, that may well be needed. We return to league action with an away trip to Racing de Ferrol. Ferrol is perhaps the right word to describe our defending, as Dari is beaten in the air by Ika Losada. Montserrat is pushed up top and pulls us level in the second half before Dennis Rufo, on as a substitute, turns the tie on its head with 3 minutes remaining. Zeka, himself a substitute, laid on both goals as we maintained our 100% league record. And that was Aguado's last game. We're 15.75 million euros richer, yet infinitely poorer without him. There is no time to lick sore wounds though, as just 4 days later we host Mirandes, where Zeka and Montserrat once again combine to open the scoring. 7 minutes later, and a chance to double our lead from the spot. Montserrat obliges. Nikos Michaelis, who scored on his debut against his former club, makes it 3 from the edge of the area, before slack marking allows Kitiashvili to pull one back on the stroke of half-time. Early in the second, Dari rises at the far post to restore the 3-goal cushion. A dominant win against relegation fodder. 3 days until we host Real Oviedo is enough time for Michaelis to fracture his arm. No worries though, Dari is here and he leaps highest to give us the lead. Into the second half and Alex Cardero is on hand to level the tie, before Montserrat scores in his 3rd successive game to put us back in front. Injury time. A corner. Oviedo keeper Quentin Barat goes forwards. And we survive. Not a best, but another win. So here we are, Thursday 29th of January 2026. Transfer deadline day for us, not for everyone else. We've bought in the reinforcements we wanted at the beginning of the window. We've lost Aguado, but Francis and Poussin are still here despite interest from England. Do we anticipate someone meeting their release clauses? Do we stick or twist? We stick. Boring, I know. Maybe not as boring as the 0-0 draw against Almeria that ended our winning streak though. Still, a good result against a team who were in La Liga last season. And that brings us to Monday, transfer deadline day in England. 9:15 AM, Bournemouth have submitted an offer for Francis. 9.5 million euros, a further conditional 2.5 million, 20% of profit. It does not trigger the release clause, we reject. 5:15 PM, Bournemouth are back. 10.25 million, a further conditional 2.7 million, 20% of profit. It does not trigger the release clause, we reject. 7:15 PM and 9:15 PM, Bournemouth submit the same offer. I do not have to accept, and so Alejandro Frances remains a Zaragoza player. Thank fuck. No concrete offers for any other players, and so our squad is set for the remainder of the season. Luis is close to returning from his broken ankle. Most of the others are back, just Michaelis and Bakis still out. Bakis' season is over though. Spain has a wage cap, and the arrivals meant we couldn't register everyone. Bakis was no longer a part of our plans and has been removed from the squad. He's unhappy and wants to leave. I want him to leave. Win-win. We remain in control of the league despite dropping our first points. With the Copa del Rey no longer a distraction, just 17 games sits between us and a return to La Liga. See you next time.